All right, here's chapter 5.4, homework help. For number 1 and 2, we're going back to last lesson, and we're saying, are these two relationships proportional? Okay, so a bunch of different ways we can do that. Again, the way I like to see, all right, check any one of these. I know 4 times 2 is 8, so on the bottom this should match up. 6 times 2 is 12, and 12 does not equal 10, so this would be a no. Number 2, we can see here, to go from 3 to 6, I'm multiplying by 2. 2/5 times 2 is 4/5, so that one works. 6 times 5 is 30, so we should check this one. 4/5 times 5 over 1. My 5s are going to cancel each other out, and I am left with 4. Both of those work out, so our covariance, meaning the outside, works out, so this would be a yes, they are proportional. Alrighty, number 7, it looks really a lot, but all we're doing is we're combining all of our like terms. So if we rewrite all of this out, we should get this. Okay. So again, we are going to go like this. When I distribute, I'm going to include that minus 4 in there. It's going to help me in the long run. So now I've got 3w minus 8. Negative 4 times 2w is minus 8w. Negative 4 times positive 3 is minus 12. Since I'm not multiplying anymore, I can go ahead and get rid of those parentheses. 3w minus 8w minus 12. My w's can combine. 3 positive w's, 8 negative w's are going to fight each other and end up at negative 5w. Negative 8, negative 12, those are on the same team. So they are both negative, and 8 plus 12 is 20. So I'm looking for negative 5 minus 20, which would be D. All right, solving proportions. Again, we learned in our lesson there's a whole bunch of different strategies we can do. Choose the strategy you like best. For me, I always see, is there an easy way to go from one to the other? If I can't do that, then I am automatically going to the cross-multiplying one. But again, there's so many that it's honestly your choice. As long as you do them correctly, you should get these to work out. So here, I notice right away that 4 times 5 is 20. To solve for z, I'm going to do 1 times 5. Z is equal to 5. Next up, I see 7 to 35 is times by 5. So I would have to do the same on the bottom. 3 times 5 is 15, which is what k is equal to. All right, here kind of comes one of those tricky ones where I don't really know. But what I do recognize is that 3 times 4 is 12. So I'm looking for a number times 4 to get me to 8. 2 times 4 is 8. Number 18 is nice. 15 times 3 is 45. 8 times 3 is going to give us an answer of C being equal to 24. There we go. Oh, I'm going to go this way. 2 times 3 is 6. So I need to do 15 times 3. 15 times 3 is 45. Now we kind of come to one of those situations where I don't really have something nice. I could do this, right? See that 4 times 6 is equal to 24. So I'm looking for a number times 6 to get me to 36, which happens to be 6. There we go. Now this is the one I was talking about. Now I don't really have anything. 10 to 8 isn't really nice, and then 10 divided by 7 isn't very nice to work out. So this is where I'm actually going to cross multiply. All right, 8 times 7 is 56, and that's going to be equal to 10k. And then from there, we just solve it like an equation. All right, this is going to give me 5.6 is equal to k. Here we go. Same thing for this one. I'm going to cross multiply. 9 times 6.4 will result in an answer of 57.6, equaling 10D. To solve this out, I'm just going to divide by 10. And divide by 10 on this side. I will be left with D. When I divide by 10, I just really need to just move the decimal place one place to the left. And I get 5.76 is equal to D. Number 30 and 32 says we're going to use a table to write our proportion. And this one is really important that you make sure that you write it correctly, okay? When we do this, we need to make sure that we are comparing two different things, okay? So we can't compare points and points and then automatically go shots and shots, right? That's not going to work out for us. We need to match these up accordingly, okay? So in game 1, I scored 12 points on 14 shots. In game number 2, I scored 18 points, and I need to figure out how many shots did I take. All right. For me, there's not really anything here that is really nice to go from one to the other. But what I do notice is that I could do some scaling here, because 12 and 18 both happen to be like compatible with 6. And I could try and think of a number that is a multiple of both 12 and 18, which I have a nice one, and that's 36. Okay, so 36 is 12 times 3. And then if I do the same on the bottom, 14 times 3 would be 42. All right, so then I know my actual one I'm looking at, 18 times 2 gets me to 36. So now I just need a number multiplied by 2 that gets me to 42. To find that, I can divide those. 2 goes into 4 twice. 2 goes into 2 once. My answer is W equals 21 shots. Okay. Number 32, we're going to set up the same. Again, make sure you line up your labels and they have to be different, right? Miles on top, hours on the bottom. And now we're looking for miles on top with 4 hours on the bottom. For this one, I see a decimal. I am not going to even try and worry about that. Automatically, I'm going to do my butterfly method. You could have chosen a different method. I'm going to do this. 15 times 4 is 60, and that's going to equal 2.5m. To solve this, I'm going to divide by 2.5. And I am left with m being equal, let's do this quick, 25 does not go into 6, but it does go into 60 twice. And I'm left with 10, drop that down. 25 goes into 100 4 times. So m is going to be equal to 24. Okay. The next one's, right, find the value of x so that the ratios are equivalent. Again, to set this up, we're just going to write our ratios in fraction form and set them equal. 4 over x, a whole bunch of ways that you can do this. What I'm looking at is that 1 times 8 is 8. So I'm going to do 4 times 8 is 32. Next one, I get 3 over x equaling 12 over 40. This one's nice because 3 times 4 is 12. So I'm going to look for numbers that multiply by 4 to get me to 40. Well, that's nice. 10 times 4 is 40. Lastly, I have this. X over 5 halves is being equal to 8 over 10. All right, for this one, I'm going cross product. And I get this. 10x is equal to, I'm going to do this quick up here, 5 halves, 8 over 1. That's equal to 20. When I go to do this, I'm just going to divide by 10 on both sides, and I'm left with x equaling 2. All right, last two problems here. It says there are 144 people in the audience. The ratio of adults to children is 5 to 3. How many are adults? Ooh. So this is almost going back to actually one of the first lessons we learned about this in making ratio tables. And the reason why this is so important is we have to check our labels, right? So I have people, children, and adults. So I actually have a whole bunch of things going on, okay? So I'm going to do this. Children, adults, and people, right? Initially, it says my ratio is 5 to 3. And I know that if I'm asking how many people is that, well, that's 8 total people. But notice I have 144 people in the audience, and it's asking how many are adults. So I'm looking for that value right there. I don't even really have to solve for the children one because I can actually just use this table to set up my proportion, right? Where that question mark is, I'm actually just going to put an x saying that's what I'm solving for. And I'm going to set this equal to 8 over 144. Now, I know a lot of us are going to set up the proportion 5 to 3 is equal to 144 over x. I know what's going to happen, but it's really, really important that you recognize what labels they're actually asking about. In this case, it's adults and people. All right. From here, I don't know how many 8's go into 144, so we're just going to cross multiply these really quick. This is going to leave me with 8x, and if I use my calculator here, 3 times 144 is 432. To solve this, I just need to divide by 8 on both sides. 432 divided by 8, I get a total of 54 adults. All right. Last problem says 3 pounds of lawn seeds covers 1,800 square feet. How many bags are needed to cover 8,400 square feet? All right. So again, my ratio is going to be pounds and then over square feet. So I have 3 pounds for 1,800 square feet. And I'm going to be looking to see how many pounds does it take to cover 8,400 square feet. Okay. Now, there's a whole bunch of things I can do. I'm going to start by doing my cross products. That's my preferred method. If you have a different preferred method, by all means do that. 3 times 8,400 is this big number here, 25,200. And we're going to set that equal to 1,800x. To find that out, I'm going to divide by 1,800. Divide by 1,800. I'm going to get an answer then, once I divide on a calculator, to say, hey, I am going to need 14 pounds of lawn seeds. And while that almost is my answer, there's actually something to do with this picture right here, right? If each bag of lawn seed is 4 pounds, and I need 14 pounds, so how many bags do I need to buy? Well, let's start adding them up. 1 bag would be 4, 2 bags would be 4, 3 bags, 4, so I'm at a total of 12. I need 14, so I do need to buy another bag. Yes, I would have 16, but I would have some left over. So we would say you need to buy 4 bags of lawn seed.